This was our first mistake. You never hurry up. And then they're like honking the horns and blaring music and yelling. We're like, if you missed episode 1, as we were on our way to Baja, driving through Texas, our Norcold RV refrigerator just quit working. Now, anytime your fridge quits working, it's terrible. Like, that's not a good situation for anyone. But specifically for us, we have to keep my insulin cold, literally a life-saving device. So it's kind of a big deal when our fridge quits working, and we also really prefer to boondock for extended periods of time. So, like, we need a working fridge.
Yeah. So after that incident in Texas where our fridge quit working, we got it back up and going, but it gradually became weaker and weaker and it was cooling less efficiently, which led me to do some shopping, and I found out you can actually replace the cooling unit instead of the entire fridge. And this is great, I feel, for several reasons. First off, it saves you a lot of money. It's a half or less of the cost of a new fridge. In our case, it was a third of the cost of a new fridge. It was also much less work for us because this RV, I'd have to remove the windshield in order to get the old fridge out and a new fridge in, which is, that's said a lot. A fridge ain't cheap, and then you have to pull your window out too.
And what's funny is we had just had our front windshields replaced, the crack. And so, like, talk about an insult to injury. We could have, but anyway. And
then the third and final reason why this is I think such a great choice is because it's that much less waste. You know, by replacing an entire fridge, it's an entire fridge going to the landfill. In this case, we're able to maintain or keep our fridge, our box, and just replace the failed components on the back of the fridge.
And actually, speaking of the box, I'll add a fourth reason, trying to match the exterior of your fridge. I mean, we were looking at fridges that would not have matched, like, would not have been good. But we were gonna do it because we thought that was our only option.
So if you find yourself in need of a RV refrigerator or a cooling unit, we can genuinely say that the folks over at JC Refrigeration do a very good job, and they're made right here in the USA. We actually went and spent a week over there. It wasn't planned, our truck broke down. We ended up in Shipshewana, Indiana, and we got to know the folks that make these units. They offer a couple of options. You can replace your old unit with a better performing RV style unit, or what we opted to do was get an upgrade to go to a residential style cooling unit in our Norcold fridge, which is pretty cool. I have a whole video about the install. It's kind of long, but if you decide to do this, right up here you can check that out. It walks you through all the steps we had to do to get the new unit installed.
They're offering you $50 off any cooling unit they sell, as well as a free consultation over the phone to figure out if a new cooling unit will be the right fix for your RV fridge. All you have to do to get this deal is mention this video or mention Jesse or Jenny with Outside Spelling.
So it's departure day, and out of nowhere, these amazing waves showed up and started wrapping around the point. A couple surfers showed up, but still not a crowd, and plenty of waves to go around. So leaving Punta Conejo, first we had to travel through the big capital, the big city of La Paz. And it was definitely a big shock after having spent almost a month kind of, you know, off grid out in the sticks.
Yeah, just in like local small towns, to head into La Paz where they had stores and Walmarts. Yeah,
McDonald's.
Huge town where up to this point we'd pretty much only been shopping at local mom and pop, if you will, type places.
We pulled into Walmart, which is actually a great place if you're a gringo, if you're from the States and you want to get any of the things you're used to.
Yes.
Walmarts have a lot of the things we take for granted here in the States that you can't find.
They also have the best prices on meat, oddly enough.
Yep.
I wouldn't say in the States that Walmart would be a place that I would go to get select cuts of meat, but it is definitely the place to go when you're in Baja.
Yeah, if you want a good steak in Baja, head to Walmart. As we left La Paz, We're trying to hurry up and get down to Todos Santos because we want to get there before dark. You don't drive at nighttime.
This was our first mistake.
Yep.
You never hurry up.
As we're leaving, there's just like this random truck parade.
I was sitting back here on this couch with Tucker, and I didn't think anything was any different. You will hear lots of loud music and lots of festivities when you're driving through Baja, and so I didn't think anything of it until I hear Jesse cracking up.
They're
Jesse
having
whipped
fun.
out the camera, and so they were all about it. Every truck that drove by, they're like, yeah!
I had the camera out the window, and I felt bad. I think Tucker was sleeping back here behind me.
And then they're like honking the horns and blaring music and yelling. And we're like, well, if this kid can sleep through, he's doing just fine.
So finally the parade passed by, traffic flowed, and we got out of La Paz, and we have no idea, like, I mean, the guidebook might say 3 hours to Todos Santos from La Paz, but who knows if is it 3 or is it 5? And so we're trying to get there before dark. We're trying not to drive at nighttime because there's plenty of hazards.
Whoa, Jesse.
And we pulled in there right as the sun's getting low, and it was very beautiful. These cobblestone streets, what a neat town.
Todos Santos is a super cool little town, but we are beach bums. So one of the first things we did was look in the area and see what beaches were nearby. And in doing so, we found Palm Beach.
And Palm Beach is really cool.
Being from Florida, we did have to giggle at Palm Beach a little bit because of the name, but a super, super cool little beach.
Yep, and what's neat about it is you can't like drive and park right up on the beach, which actually kept the crowds away. Palm Beach, you actually have to hike about a half mile into, and it's this neat oasis. Essentially, you're out in the desert, and it's this palm oasis. In fact, there's some history here. One of the former presidents had a house here, and you can actually still see the remnants of the house. But
Mexican presidents, not U.S. presidents. Like Jesse said, it's this little cove, if you will, in the middle of the desert, and it's full of palm trees. And as you walk, it's just all shaded and gorgeous, and there's a little bit of a swamp going on. I'm assuming there's a spring or something there. That's why all the trees are there. But you walk through, and then through the trees, you see this little beach, and it reminded us quite a bit of the beaches in Oregon.
Oswald West, also known as Smuggler's Cove. There's 3 or 4 names for this park in Oregon, and it's very similar. You have to walk about 15 minutes from the parking lot down to the beach, and as you pop out of the forest, or in this case in Mexico, you pop out of this palm oasis, this big crescent-shaped beach is there with some rocks and rocky headlands on both sides. It was such a very, very cool place to see.
Yep.
It was very neat.
Some caves, so it's really good if you want to spend a day, hike down there with all your stuff.
All of our guidebooks said be very careful about leaving anything in your car, so you want to make sure there's no valuables left behind, because your car is in the middle of nowhere. You know, you can't see it, so you want to make sure you don't have anything to lose in your car. But yeah, it was a pretty easy 10-minute walk down to the beach, and because so few people want to hike down there or walk down there, you've got a lot of place to spread out and have your own piece of beach area.
Yeah, in fact, that night we stayed a bit into evening, and there were 2 couples off to the side. They were having, seemed like a super nice little picnic. I think they had a dog.
Oh, that's right. This was our first time down there when we found the binoculars. So we're out exploring these rocks, checking it out, and this is so cool. We're exploring. It's a neat place. And on the rocks, we have Tucker. We're looking around, and we found this nice pair of binoculars.
Yeah. And so Jesse, of course, being Jesse, says, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to those people and see if it's theirs." And I'm like, "No, don't touch them. Whoever lost them, they will find them. You need to leave them where you found them. It's not those people. If it is, they'll come back and get it. Just leave them alone. Let them enjoy their picnic." And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go see if it's theirs.
And yeah, they were having cheese and wine. It was a very nice little beach evening they were having over there. And I said, hey, you know, I found these binoculars. Is any chance that these belong to you? And long story short, they were their binoculars. We started this conversation, and one of the couples owned several properties throughout the area. One of those properties just south of us happened to be in this very prestigious neighborhood of $1 million homes.
Well, he owned a beachfront property there and had not built anything on it. It was just a slab of dirt in the middle of a $1 million neighborhood.
But the neighbor, the house beside it though, was this like $4,000 per night Airbnb mansion.
Right, so.
Crazy.
Stupid expensive houses. But Jesse, being Jesse and just naturally networking, he's so good at it. As he's talking to the couple, he just says, hey, I know it's random and I know you guys don't RV, but do you happen to know anywhere that we could park either nearby or on the beach? You know, at this point, we'd been parking on Bahia Conception and Punta Conejo, so like we were kind of wanting to get back right onto the beach.
Oh yeah, side note, the Elitro RV Park in Todos Santos, it was fine, nothing wrong with it, nothing against it, but
great.
It left a lot to be desired. And there was dogs, perpetual dogs barking 24/7 outside.
Yeah, so it's a very compact RV park. The spots are very, very close together. Even driving in, I mean, we were scraping the bushes a little bit. So it just wasn't ideal, I guess you could say.
It was nice to be plugged in, don't get me wrong. It was nice to hook up and not worry about stuff. But yeah, it was just a dirt road in the middle of this town, and there wasn't anything super duper about it. And so the idea of getting to be back by the beach somewhere, it was a pretty cool option.
Yeah, so we asked the guy if he knew of anything like that. And he says, well, you know, actually, I own this lot, and you're welcome to park there as long as you want. If any of the neighbors bother you, just tell them my name, tell them I let you park there. And we were just kind of like, if I'm giving you back your binoculars, now we're gonna be parking on this $1 million spot? Okay, well, yes, thank you.
And we met people before that, oh yeah, I've got a spot, you know, this is essentially a semi-truck we're living and driving, so it can't go everywhere. And so we're like, oh, that's very generous, thank you very much for allowing us to park our RV on your spot. Let's go check it out first though with the pickup truck. We drove over there afterwards and we're like, holy crap, this is an amazing spot. So it was an amazing location. There's no howling dogs or neighbors next to us. Who needs full hookups?
Not us.
You can find some of our earlier Baja videos over here. The next video in this series is right here. You can find out more information on our website as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.